Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another theme park obsession video. My name is Dylan and thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. As you can see, I am back in the theme park obsession office to sit and have a little chat about something that popped up just recently that I'm like, I have to talk about this. I have to get everyone else's opinion as well. And it's something very exciting. That is that the other day Universal put out a commercial for Epic Universe and the entire Universal Orlando Resort. And within that commercial, they pretty much confirmed that they're going to be working on not only an expansion for their other parks, but another addition to Epic Universe. All these plans are already in place, and Universal isn't pumping the brakes at all, even after Epic Universe has been completed. So today I figure why not sit in the park and chat about it for a little bit, because I definitely have some thoughts on all of that and a few other things. So how about you and I dive right in? So yeah, just 2 days ago, I think now, Universal Orlando Resort pushed out a new advertisement showing off Epic Universe, getting people hyped up, and also talking about the resort as a whole, because Universal's goal is to make the Orlando property a week-long destination. They want people to stay there for 5+ days when they're vacationing to Central Florida. And with Epic Universe, that makes that a lot easier, and it makes it possible because right now Universal Orlando only has 3 parks. They have 2 theme parks and 1 water park, but now with Epic Universe coming online, that will bring them to 3 theme parks and 1 water park. So yeah, you can definitely spend 5 days or more at Universal Orlando Resort, getting to that goal that Universal has wanted. And this commercial kind of shows all of that off. It pretty much showcases all the things you can do, and everything that has come to the resort in the past couple years. Oh, train's coming. The train also agrees with me. It's funny, every time I do one of these videos here, there's like 800 trains. I don't understand it. It's weird. There's never any trains that go by when I'm like driving past this area, but then the minute I sit down, there's like 400 trains. And then pretty soon we're gonna have some like airplanes. There's probably gonna be a band that comes in, and then maybe a construction crew. And even right now, there's someone cutting down some trees. So yeah, there's just always a bunch of noise. But anyways, yeah, so the hype train is totally real for Epic Universe and the rest of the Orlando property. But the big thing that I really took away from that commercial was the fact that some very important people in that commercial said that they're already working on expansions, not just for their existing parks, but also Epic Universe. So that means like before the park's even officially open, they're already thinking about what else they can start putting into Epic Universe. Now, usually when a company opens up a new theme park, they don't have to worry about expansions for a few years. But the fact that Universal wants to just go, you know what? Screw that. We're going to continue to play with Epic Universe. And when Epic Universe opens, maybe we should start construction on the next big thing for the park. Like that, to me, is the kind of aggressive attitude towards the industry I love to see. Now, just looking at aerial images of Epic Universe, we know that the park has plenty of expansion pads. There's some pretty sizable ones too. There's one right next to the Wizarding World that's very, very large that can hold at least like 2 more lands if they really wanted to, or expanding, the Wizarding World and maybe Celestial Park and maybe even How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, there's plenty of room. But the fact that they're already working on something is really cool. Now, is it something very large? We don't know. I would probably suspect that it's maybe something small. It could be a new shop or restaurant, or it could be maybe another addition to Celestial Park when it comes to attractions, because Celestial Park has the carousel and the 2 roller coasters. So maybe they want to do another flat ride in Celestial Park, which would be pretty awesome. They don't really need to expand the other worlds just yet, but they could. It's one of those things that we're just not really sure of, and we all know how Universal is. They're very secretive, and they will start building something before they even talk about it. I mean, look at Velocicoaster. They started building Velocicoaster before we even officially heard about it, and that ongoing joke, that it was just a churro stand, they kept through with that up until opening. So we won't know about what Universal does for quite some time, but the fact that they are thinking about what else they can put into Epic Universe is amazing, especially when their competitor down the road is actively working on their new projects as well. Which I'm really excited for. I'm really specifically for the Villains Land. I really can't wait for the Villains Land, and I hope that Disney really does push the construction crews to build this in a timely manner, unlike Tron Light Cycle Run. That took forever. So I hope that the Villains Land project moves pretty swiftly and aggressively. But I think because of that, Universal knows that they can't just be complacent. They can't stop. They have to continue to go. And if they really want people to stay more than a week on their property, it's really wise for the company to keep investing. And we know for a fact that Comcast, who is the owner of all this, Comcast will flood in money to the Universal parks as long as the ROI continues, right? The return of investment. If the parks are still making good money for Comcast, well, then they're going to give the parks an unlimited budget. They don't care. And Brian Roberts, who's the CEO of Comcast, has publicly said that many times that they don't mind giving the parks and the destinations sector of their business a bunch of money as long as they're seeing the return, which they're definitely going to see the return this summer, and they have been seeing the return. So it's very, very smart for Universal to just keep pushing that pedal down, especially with Epic Universe, because I think Epic Universe is really going to change the Orlando theme park space out there as far as numbers go, where people spend most of their time. Because again, Universal wants you to spend all of your time on their property. They don't want you to go to Disney. They want you to stay at Universal. But I also love that Universal made it very clear that they're working on expansions for the Studios Park, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay, which Volcano Bay specifically gets me excited because I love Volcano Bay. For those that have been watching the channel for the past few years, you know that Volcano Bay is like one of my favorite water parks in the country. And I look forward to visiting every single time I go to Universal Orlando. Like I have to try to get to Volcano Bay every single time. And all my friends that have gone to Volcano Bay as well have said the same thing. It's like one of the best water parks that they've been to. So I'm really happy that Universal is not going to neglect that park because it's so good that it shouldn't be neglected. They should continue to invest in Volcano Bay because even though Volcano Bay probably doesn't pull massive numbers, it's still an important part of the Universal Orlando resort. And Universal Orlando considers it one of their theme parks. Volcano Bay has a pretty sizable expansion plot behind the park, but honestly, they don't really need to go back there if they don't want to. They can build within the existing footprint of the park. Water parks are really good at adding slides to their existing complexes, so I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to add another slide to an existing tower within the park. And also, Volcano Bay additions don't have to stop at just new water slides. They can make improvements park-wide. They can add more theming. They can make things more immersive. I mean, there's so much you can do with Volcano Bay because they have that interactive tapu tapu thing, so they can build in some more interactive experiences, which I hope they do consider. Which it could be a possibility because lately, if you've noticed, that Universal's been playing around with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter wands, and they've been increasing the level of interactivity when it comes to that. So when it comes to Volcano Bay, I could see them totally investing into more experiences that are included with your stay at the park. So really exciting stuff just all around, especially for Volcano Bay. At the Studios Park, we know that Universal is going to be closing the Rip Ride Rocket roller coaster. May she rest in peace. This September. So get your final rides in, by the way, before Halloween Horror Nights. So we do know that Universal has something planned for that plot of land, and it might be another roller coaster. That seems to be the rumor on the street. I feel like it's the easiest thing to do, and I think Studios would benefit from a really solid roller coaster. Studios, I think, is the park that needs the most help. As much as I enjoy going to Studios, it does need a lot of help in some areas. I think the DreamWorks land can use another flat ride. I think they need to get rid of the Simpsons and do something new there, which is also another rumor in the pipeline that they might have something planned for the Simpsons land because that contract is up with Simpsons and Universal. I think they can expand on the Wizarding World there with Diagon Alley because that's really cool. And they could also clean up that area where Fast and the Furious is, the San Francisco area, and also get rid of Fast and the Furious. So I think the Studios Park is just perfect real estate for a lot of new things. But I'm glad that Universal is doing something to the Rip Ride Rocket area. I'm really excited to see what they do there. And it's going to help the incentive to go to the Studios Park. And then at Islands of Adventure, there's a lot of rumors going on with Islands of Adventure. The big one is that The Legend of Zelda might be coming to Islands of Adventure. Now, again, this is all just speculative. We have no clue. It could happen. It could not happen. But the Lost Continent is an area that could see the next new thing because it's prime real estate. There's a lot you can do with the Lost Continent. I mean, just the Poseidon's Fury show building alone can house a pretty cool dark ride if they really wanted to do something in there, or they can level that stuff and do something completely new. I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they're going to try to save the theming as much as possible because the theming in the Lost Continent is very good. It's very, very good. So why not try to save it and incorporate it into something new? I think that's the direction they're going to go in. But yeah, Lost Continent is a great spot for them to expand in. And then Toon Lagoon is another one of those big question marks in the park, since a lot of the tunes in that area are not as relevant today, I would argue. And they have that big empty theater space that I hope that they do something with, because I'm all for live entertainment in the parks, which I am glad that Epic Universe is opening up with some live entertainment. But I think they could benefit by putting some in their existing parks. So again, that Toon Lagoon space is a great spot for them to expand in. But apparently they're working on something. Who knows what it is? And I don't know the timeline for any of this. They just have confirmed that they are working on things for all their parks. I wouldn't be shocked if after the Studios edition for Rip Ride Rocket, we see a Volcano Bay edition open up. I think the Volcano Bay stuff is going to go pretty quickly. Usually they build water park expansions pretty fast. Volcano Bay was actually built really fast in general. They built that in roughly 2 years. So I think anything that goes into Volcano Bay might open up around the same time as the Studios edition, or maybe just shortly after, depending on when they start construction on any of this stuff. I know the main goal right now is to just open up Epic Universe, and I think after Epic Universe and a couple months go by, they'll accelerate the plans for for their other parks. But I mean, how exciting is this? It really is exciting, and it's the one thing I love about Universal, not just in Orlando, but across the globe when it comes to their parks, their destinations. It, it it's nice to see a company be aggressive like this, because for a while we were seeing Disney just pumping the brakes quite a bit on a lot of their projects, taking forever because they know at the end of the day people are still going to go to the parks. But at Universal, they were like, no, we know that people are still going to come to us, but we can't just take it easy on new projects. We have to build quick because they want to compete. They want people to stay on property for as long as possible. And when you look at the Epic Universe plot, they were able to build all of Epic Universe and 3 new hotels in under 6 years. That's really impressive. And if they continue that trajectory moving forward, I I can't see Universal still being behind Disney at that point. I think Universal will match their level or completely surpass them. If they continue at this speed, I don't see a world in which Universal is still second place. I just really don't. A lot of people are going to Universal Orlando and discovering that it's a lot easier to enjoy their stay there versus at the Disney parks. And the biggest determining factor is new things. People want to see new things. So if Universal is delivering on that, and even after Epic Universe opens, they're still saying, hey, we're going to continue to build a bunch of new things in our park, well, then, yeah, I mean, people are going to make those tough decisions. And Disney might not be in those plans. So in order for Disney to really keep up, they just have to build fast. They do have some cool stuff in their pipeline, like Tropical Americas is pretty cool, and again, the Villains Land is really cool. So if they can build out those projects relatively quickly, then they're in a position that suits them a lot better, and they can continue to compete. But at Universal's pace right now, that's going to be very difficult, because now I'm just kind of curious when they're going to start the next Epic Universe thing. That's like the biggest question. Are they going to start it in a couple years, or are they going to start it in 2026? And I'm sure the expansions don't just stop inside the parks. They're probably going to start work on even more hotels. They might start work on some new City Walk additions, because in addition to spending time in the parks, they want people to enjoy other things on the resort property as well. And what's really cool about Walt Disney World is resort hopping. You can go to different resorts and enjoy restaurants and shopping or do whatever. Like Disney Springs is really cool. With Universal, I don't know if they're quite there just yet, but if they continue to invest in things like City Walk and the resort hotels, then I can see them matching that. It's going to be a while for them to match the number of resorts that Disney World has, because they have, like, 30 different hotel properties there at Walt Disney World, whereas Universal only has 11. But if they're aggressive, I could see them getting to at least like 15 or 16 hotels here in the next few years. My own personal wish list would be to see the studios expansion, or the studios addition, open up hopefully sometime in 2027 alongside a Volcano Bay expansion. I think that would be pretty smart. And then I think right before 2030, or even at 2030, the Islands of Adventure expansion would be a good thing to open up. So that way, there's really not too much time in between these things opening to where people start getting bored. Because Epic Universe opens up in May of this year. If they open up that new ride in 2027 at studios, that gives them roughly, a year and a half, 2 years to construct that new thing and get it open. So yeah, I think every year and a half to 2 years, if they open up something new, they'll be in a really good position. Another big determining factor would be whenever Disney opens up something, that's probably going to be the same time Universal tries to open up something as well, or do something to combat that new thing over at Disney, because again, they want people to not even think about going to Disney. Mark Woodbury, who's in charge of all of the destinations and experiences, he has publicly said just recently in the Wall Street Journal that he wants people to think of Universal first. He doesn't want people thinking of Disney first. They want people to be thinking of Universal and Universal only when they're planning a vacation to different sectors. I mean, obviously Florida is the biggest market, so when people are thinking of going to Central Florida, they want people to be thinking of Universal. But if Disney's going to be opening something in 2027, I wouldn't be shocked if Universal is going to also be opening up something in 2027, and I think that new thing might be at studios. If Disney's going to be opening up the Villains Land in 2028 or 2029, expect Universal Orlando to open up something at that same time. And another big hitter would be the addition of something from the Wicked franchise, which they did confirm they are working on attractions that involve that IP. And that's a really big hit if they decide to do some really cool things with Wicked. And if they can open up Wicked attractions in Orlando and here in California in time for some of Disney's newest things, then yeah, I mean, that's the competition I like to see. As a theme park enthusiast, I love to see this kind of competition. It's very refreshing. I don't like when these companies just kind of stay stagnant and they don't really build anything. I want to see these titans fight, because at the end of the day, the consumer wins. We end up getting the best of both worlds. But as far as the timeline goes, yeah, I think Universal is going to be trying to combat whatever Disney's going to be pushing out. Disney has Test Track this year later on. Obviously, we have Epic Universe. Universal's not worried about Test Track. But in 2026, I think things are just going to kind of stay stagnant. 2027, I think, is when we're going to really see some new developments pop up at Universal Orlando. And these expansions that they're talking about in this commercial, I think we're going to start seeing those in 27. It's really exciting. It's really, really exciting. And it's very dangerous for Disney. It's great for us because we're just consuming all of the fighting, right? Like we're just eating it all up. We win again at the end of the day. And I'm not hoping for either one to fall. I don't want Disney to fall. It's just, I know Disney is not in a good position right now, and they need to, they really need to push themselves. So because Epic Universe is going to be really successful, I think that's going to bode really well with Disney, because look what happened after the Wizarding Worlds were built. The first versions of the Wizarding Worlds, that really pushed Disney to do some incredible things. Pandora, Galaxy's Edge, we got some really cool additions out of the Wizarding World. Even Toy Story Land, Toy Story Land was a result of the Wizarding World. So, New Fantasyland too. So yeah, it's going to push Disney, which I'm really excited to see, and that might result in something really cool for the Villains Land coming to Magic Kingdom as well. So we shall see. But overall, I don't think Disney's ready for what Universal has up their sleeve, and what they have ready to go for 2025. And from the early reports of Epic Universe, because they're doing team member previews right now at the time of making this video, the reviews coming out of Epic Universe are incredible. People are saying that this park is amazing. It's like one of Universal's best theme parks that they've done. The rides are so much fun, and there's something for everyone to do there. So yeah, that's some pretty dangerous territory for Disney, because it just gives people more of an incentive to go spend their time at Universal. And judging from these reviews, it's looking like it's going to take you 2 days to comfortably enjoy Epic Universe, which is exactly what Universal has wanted this entire time. They want people to stay on property for as long as possible. So I am really excited to see not just Epic Universe, but all the stuff that's in the pipeline at Universal Orlando. It's one of my favorite places to go. I love just going out to Florida in general, but when I go to Universal Orlando, it still feels like the very first time every time I go. So I'm really stoked for the future. And yeah, I can't wait for those Volcano Bay expansions. I feel like that's the most exciting thing, to be completely honest, because I love Volcano Bay so much. I love that water park. So the fact that they're thinking of some new expansions is really cool. And they are doing some nighttime events this year, so they are playing around with Volcano Bay, which is great to see. But what are your thoughts? Go ahead and comment down below. I would love to know what your thoughts are on Universal's latest commercial talking about Epic Universe and their future. Do you think that we're going to see some pretty significant additions to all the parks, or do you think we're going to see some small stuff? Do you think we're going to see some new hotels? Do you think they're going to build another city walk? Do you think they're going to build, another theme park? Go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed today's talking video. Again, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but every once in a while I like to pull up to the Theme Park Obsession office and just sit and chat with you guys. Hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy it. If you're new to the channel and you love the theme park talk and vlogs from some of your favorite theme parks, you should consider subscribing. Just reached a huge milestone, 90,000 subscribers on the channel, so thank you so much for that. The road to 100,000 is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and I can't wait to reach that milestone, hopefully sometime this year. But yeah, I hope all of you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is, and I'll see you next time in the parks. Bye.